Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Ooh, going in, and Garrett will clear it to the other side for Mark Howe. Howe coming up on the right side. Howe over the line to his father. Son to father. Back into, they score! Number 9, Father Howe. And number 5, Mark Howe. And the crowd appreciates that.
Just you know what? Let's cancel the rest of the show, and I'm sure people wouldn't mind that, and just run that on a loop. Gordie Howe, Danny Galvin, and John Garrett clearly started that play. It was 45 years ago this year, so April 9th, 1990. It was Gordie Howe's final National Hockey League goal. It was a playoff goal. Hartford ended up losing that best-of-5 series to Montreal. But you can see when you watch the play that John Garrett started the play, got the puck to Mark Howe, and over to Gordie on the long-range backhander. I think it was Denny Herron he beat there. I'm not sure. Maybe John can tell us. But finally, John Garrett, for years, has said, I should have got an assist on that goal. And he's been awarded an assist, finally, after all these years, by the National Hockey League. And John Cheech joins us now. How are you, sir?
With my Hartford Whaler hat on.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, my Hartford Whaler hat on.
Beautiful.
It is. It's kind of a fun thing because, you guys know Gordie.
Yeah.
And what a fine gentleman Gordie was. Just a nice guy, great teammate, and playing with Mark and Marty. I threw it to the right guy. I didn't throw it to Marty. I threw it to Mark.
Yeah.
Mark makes a good play. And look at the wingers that Gordie's playing with. It's the end of his career, and Gordie's out there with, see who's standing in front of the net? Nick Fatio.
Okay. Enforcer. Yeah.
And there's Tommy Rowe as the other guy who was on the other side with Gordie. And it was something that I thought, it would be nice 3 or 4 years after the fact. But we lost 8-4. So I wasn't going to complain after the game. I was in for all 8. Oh, yeah, I let in 8, but I'm bitching about not getting an assist on Gordie's last goal. That would really be good. Eventually, and you guys know Greg Shannon.
Yep.
I've worked with Greg for years and years and years. And we were seatmates on the Canuck Charter when the announcers were still allowed to be on the Charter, which is a bone of contention for everybody. But and he came up with the idea, and we phoned Benny Urkelani, was the official statistician of the NHL. And Benny said, they didn't give it to you then. And if we start doing that now, guys that are close to 1,000 or close to 500, they'll all want us this. And, we can't really do that. And then Greg, was a dog with a bone. He started a Twitter thing, give it to Cheech, and that kind of gave a little steam. And then it just kept going and going. And then finally, and I don't know why yet, I know Coley Campbell was in play, and Coley and I were teammates in junior, and Ron McLean. And then they finally decided, make an exception and let's give Cheech the assist on Gordie Howe's goal. And it really is an honor because, in my opinion, Gordie is probably and I'm old enough to have watched Gordie in his prime, probably the best player that's ever played the game all round in an era when you had to be physical, and the elbows up thing that everybody talks about now. And that was Gordie with the elbows, a great scorer, big, strong. Before there was all the trainers and the nutritionists and just a physical specimen. He was 52 years old there.
Yes, I forgot to mention that.
Wow. I don't know how many goals he got that last year. I think it was like 18 or something. And he was 52 years old.
Yeah.
And just a fine family guy. The only reason he kept playing was to play with Mark and Marty. And it was just a pleasure to get to know him and be his friend. Not only did I get an assist on his last goal, I let in his 1,000th goal in the WHA. And everybody, they record chase, the Ovechkin record chase and all that thing. But they didn't count Gordie's WHA goals. And Gordie was playing with Hartford at the time. And he came through Birmingham, and he had a few games before that. And I was always hoping that he'd score it before he got to Birmingham. But sure enough, I let in Gordie's 1,000th goal. I have a picture of that, and he signed it for me. And I don't keep a whole lot of things from my playing days, but that's one that I treasure. And to Big John in friendship, he signed it Gordon, and I keep that around. And so it's nice to be part of Gordie's last goal.
Nice.
John, I know you're watching the NHL playoffs right now, the Stanley Cup Finals. Your thoughts on Stuart Skinner last night? They go to Pickard. He's 7-0, 22 saves. Great save off of Bennett in OT. What about that Edmonton goaltending? Just from the LA series on, up and down.
Yeah, Pickard's been really good. Like he's been the best of the two. But you go back to Skinner, they can't go back to Skinner now. He's done.
No,
you can't. No matter how it goes next game, you can't come back to Skinner. But I thought Pickard came in and he made a couple of saves. He made that glove save on Bennett off the cheater and off the bar. And but I thought the breakaway save, I don't know who that was on in the second period, where they gave the puck away and it would have turned the tide. And he made a save in the second too. That was one. But Bobrovsky has been very good, and he made a bunch of great saves. But that Darnell Nurse goal, scored 3-1, and that's stinky. That was a bad goal. And I thought, okay, Edmonton, they've got some momentum going, and then that goes in, and all of a sudden they're right there, and they tie it up, and then Bobrovsky makes some good saves. A lucky goal to end it, but I sit there and I think Edmonton. They give up so many good chances, but they can score. They have that ability with McDavid and Draisaitl, and then the supporting cast now is chipping in. I think that they can score 4 or 5 a game, and no matter how Bobrovsky plays. And if the Edmonton goaltending can just be good, they don't have to be great, but just be good. Don't let in any bad goals, and the rebounds, control those. And Skinner he was all over the ice, even when he made a couple of good saves early in the first period. One hit him in the side underneath his arm and came out the other side. And he came across, he was so far out of the play, and he had to dive across, and he just got a piece of it. And Craig who's got his Edmonton Oilers colors flying high, said, what a great save it was. And I think, wow, he was so lucky to get that. It was off his side and underneath his arm, and just stayed out. And then once it started to go bad on him, it went bad. That was a good move to get rid of him, to get him out and change the feel and show the rest of the players, okay, we've got to do something. We've got to shake it up. But no matter how unpopular it is, what a buddy Stuart Skinner is, you had to do that. And they give Chris Knobloch credit for doing that.
Absolutely. Hey, the Canucks farm team in the Calder Cup Finals. John, how important is it to have a young goalie like Silovs, only 24, carrying the mail in the playoffs? Markstrom did it for Vancouver in Utica with Travis Green in 2014. Silovs doing it now. How big is that for Silovs to have, to put this team on his back all the way to the Calder Cup?
Yeah, I went to a game when they were playing Colorado up in Abbotsford. What a great atmosphere it was.
Yep.
And he is setting himself up for, if the Canucks don't decide to trade Thatcher, then Silovs is a perfect trade chip. He's young, like you say. He'll be cheap for the first big contract. The next contract that he gets, he'll be undervalued. And he's proven the World Championships, the All-Star goalie in the World Championships, and now he's been absolutely lights out. And I think that that team, and you look at the guys that are playing on that team, how many of them have NHL experience, because the Canucks were in such an up and down season where a lot of those guys got to play. And Mancini and all the forwards who got to play, and now they're playing, and they've got a chance at the Calder Cup. Charlotte's a really good team, and that's going to be a challenge for them. But you look at the teams that they beat already, and I think they'll be ready for it. Manny really has them playing a good shutdown game. and I think they'll all be low scores and 1-goal games.
Gordie Howe, 79-80, 52 years old, 80 games, 15 goals, 26 assists, 41 points, and in the playoffs he got the 1 goal, assisted by Mark Howe and John Garrett.
Yes, and playing with Tommy Rowe and Nick Dutillo, and he still got 15 goals. So there you go.
Why would Gordie need to play with an enforcer? Because I've talked to guys who played back then, and they were afraid of Gordie when he was 52.
Oh, I know. He wasn't above just sticking somebody in the face. But we had Blaine Stoughton and Mike Rogers and some of the young guys coming in, and Ronnie Francis was there, and so Gordie at 52, it was so funny. The guys trying to coach him, and in practices they'd have a scrum down at the one end, and Gordie would be down at my end just shooting pucks at him and stuff. He was in his own little world. You're going to tell Gordie, "Come on, Gordie, pay attention." And I don't think so. But that was a lot of fun. Just nobody thought we'd make the playoffs that year, and give credit to WHA teams. How many teams made it? Let me think. The Oilers probably made it, and we made it. I don't know whether Quebec made it that year, but anyway, it was. Nobody thought any of the WHA teams would make it because the rules for the amalgamation was you just kept 2 players and no draft or anything like that. So it was a credit to the WHA and how good the league was by the time they merged.
I can't remember who one of the guys the Oilers kept was. But anyway, Rick's not getting it. It was Gretzky.
It was Gretzky, I know.
Cheech, congratulations on this. I know you've been fighting the good fight for a long time. Congrats, and thanks for joining.
I just wish you were doing highlights back then, Donnie, so that I could have, instead of Danny Gallivan, I could have the Don Taylor.
I would have pointed it out. And by the way, we missed you in the spring. Hopefully, for the next Canucks playoff drive next spring, you'll be on our show.
Well, let's hope so. I really enjoyed that last year.
Yeah, it was fun.
I was thinking at the end when they were close, and that'll be great to do Donnie and Dolly again, but no. I got to do the Winnipeg St. Louis series, and that was really
great.
A good series.
It was great. Yeah,
that was fun.
Yeah, John, thanks for this. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you.